Bill 1439. This one's pretty darn straightforward. It simply repeals the language with regard to the 4-day provision in Senate Bill 521. As I mentioned before, more than half of your local school districts and education authorities are on a 4-day schedule. We have too many school districts that are on a 4-day schedule, and if you try to restrict their calendar, especially now, but if you try to restrict their calendar this way, it really makes a problem for those local rural communities, I think, in particular. The policy has been in Idaho that we set the number of hours a student needs to be in the seat. And then we let the local community decide how that plays out. There are communities that deal with harvests. There are communities that deal with county fairs. There are ways that we structure these things so that the community continues to function, not at the instruction of the school. And we have proven that with that 4-day school week, we can still meet and be in compliance with the number of hours in the seats as required by Title 33, 512. So this is just to remove this thorn it's in this particular piece of policy, and with that, I'd ask for your support.
Other questions? Senator Ruckey.
Well, just a comment. Maybe I'll wait until we do motions. I'll wait.
Okay. Senator Harris.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to send Senate Bill 1439 to the Senate floor with a due pass recommendation.
Second.
Motion by Senator Harris, second by Senator Lee, that Senate Bill 1439 be sent to the floor with a due pass recommendation. I'm not going to entertain. Can we go to testimony committee?
Yeah.
Because I feel compelled to hear some testimony. Rob Sauer, if you would come up, and by the way, the testimony is all in favor, but I think it's important we hear from those that have taken the time. So welcome to committee. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, my name is Rob Sauer. I'm the superintendent of the Homedale School District. I've been there for 12 years as a superintendent. I'm also president of the Idaho Association of School Administrators. My board has tasked me with leading our efforts in becoming a school of choice. Quite honestly, we should all strive to become a school of choice for students and families. I truly believe that. The Homedale School District has been on a 4-day school week for 9 years. The board voted initially on a 3-2 vote 10 years ago to make the move. 2 years later, the same board voted unanimously to stay on a 4-day week. We are also one of the few districts in Idaho without a supplemental levy. The 4-day week is one of the resources and tools we use to become a school of choice. By taking away local control and one of our recruiting tools, we face going backwards and not being as competitive for quality teachers. We know the research on the importance of the quality of the teacher in the classroom. Guess who loses in that situation? It's our students. Rural and remote communities are not a destination place for many people. Please don't take away one of our tools for recruiting and retaining the best staff we can find for our kids. Unintended consequences of hampering the 4-day option. There's a district in northern Idaho that it will cost them $25,000 per day to add a day because their transportation costs are so great. They will have to cut a teacher to add 3 or 4 days. That hurts kids. 74 school districts and 20 charters, that's been alluded to already, are on a 4-day week. That means 94 total districts and charters are on a 4-day week. That seems like a lot of communities that said that schedule is best for their schools, their students, their families, and their staff. This is most definitely an issue that should rest with locally elected officials, and we appreciate your support to that end. We appreciate your willingness to address this issue and correct this for all of the Idaho communities that have chosen a 4-day week. Mr. Chairman, happy to stand for any questions.
What about the
Thank you,
single
Senator Lee.
moms and the families that both work
It's good to see you
and have
here.
to hire a babysitter on Fridays?
So, as I'm sure you looked at 521, and as this is a trailer bill, I hope it's relevant. And we had some discussion, I know, with groups about, look, there's current flexibility already in 521. There's current flexibility for the superintendent of schools that have 4-day, and you're going to be able to stay with that. What would you say in response to that? Did you feel like that assurance from the superintendent gives you that flexibility to stay?
Superintendent.
Mr. Chairman, Senator Lee, quite honestly, no, because there's so many unique situations for all the 4-day week school districts. So the flexibility that is needed in Boundary County might be a little bit different that is needed in Murtaugh. And I think that the ability to adjust according to what the needs of that community are not met in 521. I think our hands are tied too much on that. Let us decide locally and do what's best for our communities, and let those locally elected officials decide that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent, for being in. Craig Woods. Welcome to committee.
Thank you, Chairman Guthrie, Senate Committee. My name is Craig Woods. I'm the superintendent of the Emmett School District, and I'm here to testify in favor of this bill as well. We've spent the last 2 years looking at calendars as a committee. We've outreached to our patrons, and our community asked for the 4-day school week, and we transitioned 2 weeks ago to the 4-day school week. This bill in 521 itself, it kind of limits us and where we may go. And Senator Lee, your question about that you asked Mr. Sauer, that's exactly our concern there is what will we do in 2 years if we have to transition. Our calendar, again, the minimum is 990 hours. Our calendar has 1,032 plus 24 hours of professional development through the school year. So we more than meet the minimums. We've increased our hours across the board. So I want to say thank you and hopefully we'll move this forward.
Thank you, Superintendent. I don't see any Senator Winder.
You ready for a motion?
We have a motion. I still have 4 to testify.
There's still other people. Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Superintendent. Going to see if we can connect with Jeff G. virtually. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Guthrie, Senators. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to visit with you this morning. I'm also here to speak in support of 1439. When I initially heard of a facilities bill that was going to provide a source of funding for school districts, I was definitely in support of it. But as more items have been added to this bill, my opinion has definitely changed. I am the superintendent in the Ryrie School District, and this is the first year we've been on the 4-day school week, and we moved to the 4-day school week for a number of different reasons. The first reason we moved to the 4-day school week was that we needed an opportunity for teachers to collaborate and to talk about kids. And in our previous schedule, that time didn't exist. When we moved to the 4-day school week, we did not shorten our teacher contract by a single day. Our teachers still work 174 days, and they come in 2 Fridays a month. During that time, they're able to have those discussions about kids. They collaborate, they plan, and it's been a huge benefit for our district this year. The second reason we moved to the 4-day school week was to provide remediation time for our students. 2 Fridays a month, we bus kids in, we feed them breakfast, and we have 3 hours of remediation time where they can go meet with the teachers that they need to get help from. And again, this has been a huge benefit to the kids in our district. And the last reason that we felt the 4-day school week was necessary for the Ryrie School District was to attract high-quality educators. We struggle right now because we compete with the Madison School District, the Rigby School District, and the Bonneville School District for teachers. Most of you probably know that we are in a teacher shortage, and finding high-quality teachers is getting more and more difficult every year. So the one carrot we felt like that we could put out there was the 4-day school week. These larger districts have extra funds. They can pay a teacher more, but we felt like the 4-day school week might be enough of an incentive to get some of those teachers to make the drive to Ryrie. This has been stated previously, but in my 22 years of experience as an educator, I feel like local control is where these decisions need to be made. Our school boards know our local communities, they know the needs. And so that's why I stand in support of S1439. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Superintendent, for joining us this morning. Don't see any questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Norm Stewart. Welcome to committee. All you superintendents have beards.
Strangely enough, yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. My name is Norm Stewart. I'm the superintendent for the Marsh Valley School District. I stand before you today to advocate for the passage of Senate Bill 1439, aimed at revoking Section 33916 related to the 5-day versus 4-day school week schedule introduced in Section 18, House Bill 521. I appreciate and I'm thankful for the legislative efforts to alleviate the tax burden on Idaho citizens. However, the discussion surrounding the school week structure does not contribute to these efforts. My tenure with the Marsh Valley School District spans 12 years, 11 of which as superintendent. Through this period, we have consistently and successfully implemented a 4-day school week. The decision for this schedule was made through thorough research and community engagement just before I arrived to the district. We have made it a practice to gauge community satisfaction through annual surveys, consistently finding strong support for the 4-day schedule. It's important to note that the shift to the 4-day week was thoroughly informed by instructional hour requirements, ensuring that we meet and far exceed our current educational hour obligation. The introduction of House Bill 521 marks a sudden shift from focusing on instructional hours to randomly chosen and yet to be determined teacher contract and student contact days. A change that seems to stem from individual political motivation rather than educational benefits. Our state prides itself on the valuing of local autonomy. The stipulations in Section 33916 undermine the principle by limiting local decision making. I urge you to honor our tradition of local control and support Senate Bill 1439, repealing the restrictive elements of Section 33916 concerning the 4-day school week, ensuring that educational practices are tailored to the needs and the determinations of the local community. Thank you for considering and urge you for
Thank
those
you,
critical matters.
Superintendent.
Thank you.
I'm impressed. You guys are all right on 2 minutes. It's like incredible. I mean, I'm serious. It's that's why we want to hear what you have to say, and appreciate you being here, because you put effort not only into helping with the instruction of our kids, but also in what you're trying to do to advocate for the future needs of our kids in schools. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We're going to try one with Karen Lyon, which would be remote. Good morning. Can you hear us?
Yes, good morning, Chairman.
Just introduce yourself and the time's yours.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman Guthrie and members of the State Affairs Committee. My name is Karen Pyron, and I'm the chairman of the Board of Trustees for Butte County School District 111 in Arco. I also serve as the Region 7 Vice Chair of ISBA, and as Region 7, we represent 7 4-day school weeks in rural Idaho. So I come before you today in support of the Trailer Bill 1439. As you have already heard, and I support the testimonies that have come forward, there are many drivers of the 4-day week. And none of us, I believe, have even entertained the thought of returning to a 5-day week. But it boils down to this, that it is a local decision. It is based on what is in the best interest of our schools and our communities. It's a cultural imperative and a standard and an expectation. Many of us have been on the 4-day week over 10 years, some 20 years. Plain and simple, it works for us. It has been said that you cannot touch a school without touching the culture of the surrounding town. Currently, 97 of Idaho's 115 school districts, or 84%, embrace the 4-day week. It will be a nightmare for these districts moving forward, especially this spring, to have to change calendars for the upcoming school year. It is unfortunate that a platform that has been adopted by 84% of our districts in Idaho and so fully embraced by their respective communities and is not even related to House Bill 21. Again, it works for us. I can assure you again that it will be a negotiations nightmare and a sense of consternation in our community. The late timing of the calendar, scrambling to find funding to pay for the additional contract days. I would much rather that our trustees, our administration, and our teachers spend our time this spring and summer on issues that really matter, the needs and interests of our kids. Please give 1439 a green light.
Thank you. And while I got you on the line, when I was 12 or 13, probably, a realtor by the name of O.T. Jones showed my dad a ranch over in Arco. I don't know if you know O.T. Jones. And
absolutely, I remember him well.
I come within an eyelash of living in Arco. We just about got that ranch bought. I wonder how my life might have been different. But I know your area a little bit, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Yes, thank you for the invitation.
I don't have anyone else signed up. Is there anyone else? You want to offer any closing?
If it would be okay, Mr. Chairman, just briefly.
Senator Anton.
It's good to hear from the people who have boots on the ground, who are educating the children, who care about the children, want to make sure that they're meeting the parents' needs and the students' needs. Because what we have done, and this is, I want everyone who's hearing this to also understand, this is not forcing anyone into a 4-day school week. We've heard testimony of how it works. But if your school district wants to keep a 5-day, this bill is what you need, because it will let you on a local level decide how you run your schools. And I think that's the Idaho way, and so I'm asking for support. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Winder?
Are you ready for a motion?
We have a motion unless you're offering a substitute motion.
Oh, I didn't realize you already had a motion.
We've got a motion with a due pass. Are you good then, Senator Winder? Yes. Senator Harris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to speak to the motion, I represent a lot of schools that have 4-day weeks. I've heard a lot from my constituents that are concerned about this issue, and I had quite a bit to say, but I think the superintendent summed it up very well. And anyway, this is a good bill. I support it.
Senator Ruckty?
Mr. Chairman, at the risk of being 100% wrong and very public about it, I don't remember hearing a motion.
I believe we had a motion from Senator Harris, second by Senator Lee. Please correct me if I'm wrong, committee. We good on that?
Okay.
We did have a motion from Senator Harris, second by Senator Lee. That's 1439 be sent to the floor with the due pass.
Okay, thank you. Maybe just to make a comment then on the
Senator Ruckty.
I'll support the motion. I think this is something that we should have local control on these sorts of decisions. We can always look at whether 4-day work week has a detrimental impact on students, but frankly, as we've heard, it helps with recruiting quality teachers, which has a positive impact on teachers or on the students. I'm not a big believer in acting on anecdotal evidence, but my sister is a counselor up in Shelley. She drives up there from Pocatello, and when she thought the 4-day work week or 4-day school week was being threatened, she called me immediately, and she doesn't call me about a lot of issues that we deal with up here, but that one she wanted to talk to me about immediately. She just said, look, if that's a 5-day week, she said, I'm going to reconsider what I'm doing and where I'm doing it, because it's such a draw to her to be able to fit her life into that schedule, and she really enjoys it. So I'll be voting for the motion.
Senator Winder?
Just quickly, Mr. Chairman, we've all heard the expression of a beautiful baby when it comes to our bills, and I think this one is a beautiful baby. The previous one was, in my opinion, an ugly baby, and I had some other comments I was going to add about the condition of the diaper or whatever you want, but anyway, I think this is a good move. It's something we talked about from the beginning, needed to be corrected, and so I'm very supportive of this. Thank you.
As we all know, a beautiful baby is in the eye of the beholder, right? Committee, those in favor of sending Senate Bill 1439 to the floor with a due pass indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Senator Anton, 1440. And we don't have anyone signed up to testify on this one.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee. Senator Kelly Anthon, District 27, representing Kaja, Minidoka, and Oneida counties. I'm pleased to present to you